This little dog here is Bowser. Would you believe that he was the very first dog that we ever had on the Today Show 30 years ago? This dog is 50 years old. In human terms, that is 1.5 million, this dog is. And for all those centuries, this dog has been eating this stuff. It is called Alpo, and I wouldn't talk like this if the president of Alpo weren't in the control room. Take that. But this dog really loves this food because it's Alpo, and your dog will also live to be 1 million years old if he eats Alpo. Take my word for it.
One thing that Today Show has always prided itself on is the ability to attract guests of distinction, be that distinction in fields of statesmanship or science, the fine arts, or the very best in popular entertainment. Well, one thread that has run through our 3 decades of today is that all 8 of the American presidents of those years have appeared on this program, and we have assembled a sampling of some of their appearances, beginning with President Ronald Reagan.
5.5-year experience for me.
Well, I used to worry in the old days about maybe being responsible for closing a theater or two, but here I am closing out your show.
Well, we think
President Reagan wasn't closing the show, just Tom Brokaw's days on it. We will probably see Mr. Reagan here again. Just after his election, Jimmy Carter had some prophetic words from Plains about his White House years.
It would be a mistake to anticipate that a president can change worldwide and domestic economic circumstances overnight.
Ford, good morning, first of all, and thank you for joining us. Also,
live from the White House in Washington, Gerald Ford has been a frequent guest on the Today program. White House visits were often the occasion for tough questions from Barbara Walters.
Well, Barbara, if you didn't ask me that question, everybody would think this program was fixed.
That's true, Mr. President.
That question was only about daughter Tricia's rumored engagement in 1971. Harder questions were soon to follow. Lyndon Johnson's appearances on Today spanned his Senate and White House years, as well as the years that followed on the ranch in Texas. John F. Kennedy is said to have been the first president to use a regularly scheduled program, The Today Show, to appeal directly to a TV audience.
I'm delighted to have this chance through Dave Garroway to emphasize our great national interest.
President Eisenhower appeared most frequently after leaving office, as when he told Hugh Downs one mistake he wouldn't have made a second time.
Well, I certainly wouldn't have made the last lunge I did in a game against Tufts when they broke the leg.
That's right. Your knee was put out of action.
Harry Truman was president when the Today Show began, and he wasn't afraid to play favorites among the original cast. Old-timers still talk about how he'd route his morning walks to coincide with today's broadcasts from the original street-level studio. President Truman, just one of many visitors who stopped by that street-level studio. I think Dave Garroway once referred to it as his window to the world. It was down on 49th Street, the RCA Exhibition Hall, and Willard Scott is down there right now. Willard?
Hey, this is it. We're on the street. That's where I knew I'd end up, and this is the building right across the street where, for so many years, the Today Show did its thing every morning. And people would pass by and wave to the audience at home, and everybody got a big kick out of it, the people at home and the people, of course, on the street. And there are people on the street today. Excuse me, ma'am, do you know what today is?
I think it's Thursday, isn't it?
Thursday, nice. Did you know what today is? Today is.
I know.
What? Today.
It's got to be the 30th anniversary of the Today Show. I saw the first hour.
Did you watch the first show?
It was fantastic. I would watch the first show. Of course I did.
Where are you from, ma'am?
I'm from Seattle.
Well, Happy New Year, and thank you very much. Move right along, and they'll pay you later. Okay. You never know who you're going to run into on the streets here. For instance, you might run into Gregory Peck. You might possibly run into Richard Harris. I don't believe it.
Hi, Willard. How are you?
I don't believe it. It's David Letterhead.
Thank you.
He's the idol of the... You're starting your new production when?
February 1, but before we get into that, I just wanted to congratulate everybody affiliated with your show, The Today Show, for being on the air for 30 years. And I know that means a lot to everybody coming from a guy whose own show lasted 18 weeks. So it's a commendable anniversary.
I don't know of anybody in that room and anybody in the show business that hasn't had the same experience one way or the other, but we wish you the best. I happen to be your biggest fan at 260 pounds.
Thank you very much, Willard, and thanks for the opportunity of letting me get up at dawn. I appreciate that.
I do a great... Watch this. And now, here's David.
And we have your resume.
Thank you. Okay.
Well, the Today Show is 30 years old. Happy birthday, and remember, don't trust anyone over 30.
Willard, we have been having some fun with this morning, but in truth, does anybody down there know what's going on upstairs?
I think so. I think an awful lot of people do that are passing by. You know what we're doing out here, don't you, sir?
No, I'm in a hurry and I don't.
Oh, I saw the beginning of it today. Wait a minute. It's what, sir?
The 30th anniversary of the Today Show.
Hey, let's hear it. Thank you. God bless. We appreciate. Thank you very much. That's one. If we can 50-50 at this thing. Yes, ma'am. You know what today is, don't you?
And this is the week that John Kennedy was inaugurated 20 years ago.
Terrific. That's.
I give you our magazines from our neighbors because of its title, dear.
Thank you.
Alive, well, and living in New York.
Thank you very much. That's most of us that are here. Now, here's a special offer, I hope, from the National Geographic Society's World Magazine. You watch and we'll be back.
Through our 30th anniversary party, Betty Furness has been eyeballing our cake. You got a problem with it?
Well, Brian, not all of these people, you know, have cake for breakfast, and some of them are on a diet. Some of them look out for cholesterol. I thought I'd better check the ingredient label before Jane serves it. And some of you may want to get a pencil in case you want the recipe. This is basically a pound cake. Now, there are lots of eggs, flour, sugar is right up there on the list. I'm sorry to say that not all of the ingredients are natural. There are some artificial ingredients. The icing has both artificial coloring and artificial flavoring, but everything else is real. The major ingredient in this cake is 12 sheets of marine plywood. Now, the marine type was used so that it wouldn't warp when iced. There's a half pound of finishing nails. The icing is made of 10 gallons of whipped spackle. There is added water to give this spackle a little glitter. Next, 2 gallons of orange Flow-On super vinyl paint, 2 pounds of mica dust sprinkled over the whipped spackle, and the rosettes for the candles are made of sheet metal. They could get stuck in your teeth. So, aside from the artificial orange, every ingredient is natural. I think they call it pound cake because you can pound on it without hurting it.
All right, thank you very much, Betty. And this has been a marvelous morning. I had promised that I would not get involved in numbers on this, but in this case, I think the numbers are appropriate. In 30 years of today, they tell me more than 30,000 guests, 15,679 hours of programming on over 7,810 broadcasts. And if that doesn't humble you a little bit on this January 14, 1982, then I am not sure what does. At this point, I'm supposed to say goodbye for everyone, but I certainly am not going to try to do that, so I will simply say goodbye for me. I'm Bryant Gumbel.
Well, the only thing you didn't calculate is how many times the alarm clock went off. And I'm Tom Brokaw.
I'm Joe Garagio. And I'm Jack Wistuli. I'm John Chancellor. Happy birthday today.
I'm Hugh Downs.
I'm Pat Weaver.
I'm Jim Hartz.
I'm Betty Furness.
And I'm Gene Shalit. Thank you, Pat Weaver, for thinking it up.
Thank you, Jane, for being on it.
And I'm Jane Pauley.
I'm Helen O'Connell.
I'm still Florence Henderson.
I'm still Bessie Palmer, and happy birthday, world, who's watched us all these years.
I'm Lee Merriweather.
I'm Frank Blair, and thanks for everything, folks.
Edwin Newman.
Goodbye, I'm Estelle Parsons. What do you say, Brian? We cut this cake.
Well, I think we've
like
got
a scrambled egg cake.
I think before we do that, we've got a very special goodbye from a special man.
I'm Dave Garroway. And peace.
Happy birthday!
I said peace and I got it.